One, hey, two, hey, one, hey, two, hey, three, hey, four, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, ho. Everybody get up. Ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, ho. Everybody get up. Everybody get up.
Hey, how you doing, LaDios?
I'm doing good, Rav'n.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I'm Rav'n Moon, an actor with passion.
And I'm LaDios Muhammad, an actor with purpose, and we are actors from
the dark side.
Welcome to episode 8.
Woo! Today we're going to be discussing acting and motherhood. We're both moms, and I
Yes.
know that's impacted our practice as actresses, and would like to dive into our personal world of our struggles and our triumphs in that regard.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to start out with? I personally would like to just say, happy graduation. So happy that you are part of class of 2020, and so sad that you had to be part of the COVID-19 missing out on ceremonies and such, but we are so super proud of you. And yeah, that's my son, the light of my world, and I'm very proud of him.
Give a shout out to my nephew. Graduated. Happy graduation in 2020. He is also a victim of the COVID-19, but we are so proud of you. You made it, and hats off to my brother and my sister-in-law. You guys did a great job with your boys.
Way to go.
Yeah.
And also just a quick shout out to my daughter, who went from 5th grade to 6th grade this year. So yeah, a little bit of continuation in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, both my kids had major milestones this week, which was wonderful,
Yeah.
and made me reminisce a little bit on being a mom. And we just got done with Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I thought this might be a nice topic to delve into.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of Mother's Day, how was your Mother's Day? Since, it was kind of shifted a little bit because of COVID. What did you do?
Yeah, we got together with my family. We've been kind of seeing each other on and off during the stay-at-home order, so I think we all knew that we were kind of safe. And we all got together, had a very small little barbecue, but it was nice. It was really lovely. And what about you? What did
What's
you do?
a small barbecue?
A small barbecue, immediate family only. Yeah,
And
so
how
that
immediate
would
is the
be
family? It was like
6 people.
Oh, that is small.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so-
Small would be like 20.
No, we ain't rolling deep like that no more. Everybody's passed away.
Well, for me, Mr. King, he made me like an amazing dinner. It was nice. He cleaned and he cooked, and I had just a plethora of food, and it was so good.
So you got spoiled.
Yeah, I got spoiled.
That's
but
lovely.
He went the extra mile, so thank you, Mr. King. I
Way to go,
appreciate it.
Mr. King.
Yeah, but it was pretty low key, and I got a couple of text messages, because how it is, and
Sure.
my kids send me a couple of text messages. Happy Mother's Day,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that I'm a mother every day, so I don't get too freaked out if I don't get a card or something, because
Right.
I think I always say Happy Mother's Day to my own personal mother. So grateful that she brought me into this world to do what I do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was low key, like us. Pretty low key.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So have you come across any struggles in terms of trying to pursue your acting career and be a mother at the same time?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I always say I took the scenic route before I can really do this full throttle, because I've been wanting to act since yay high, but I had my children relatively young. So once they came in, I put my goals and aspirations of being an actor off to the side. And then so over the last 5 years, I was like, I've been doing it for over 10 professionally, but full throttle, okay, now I can go for the TV and the film, because before I had to manage it locally on a scale of here in Denver and not too far from here, because you still gotta raise your kids.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a double-edged sword when you compare it to men. Because men, I was having this conversation the other day with Mr. King. I was like, they will up and leave and go pursue their career, but we, the the higher percentage of mothers will say, you know what, I'm going to raise my kids first.
Right.
You know, we're going to put our talents behind and stay here. And so I wanted to be a mother first because I thought that was important.
Sure.
And so I feel very, vindicated about it, and so I feel okay.
No, I think about that myself. I had to make a lot of sacrifices to be a good mother, and even though it wasn't in terms of putting off my career per se, definitely in terms of just putting off my own self-gratification and own wants, in life, I had a lot of years where I just stayed away from people and just concentrated on home and being a mother. My son had really... he was pretty low functioning autism when he was diagnosed when he was in around 2 and 4 years old, and we had to do so much intervention and all of that I put it all into being a mother. I was kind of like that mom that would work an extra hour with him on worksheets for dyslexia and things like that. So even today I shared a memory on my Facebook from last year where he graduated last year with a 3.4 GPA, and him graduating this year, he's just such a good kid, and he works so hard, but that's what I always told him when he was little, you are wired differently, and things are going to be hard, but life is not fair, and if you put in the work, no one's going to be able to take that from you. So I'm very proud of myself for, sacrificing for his sake, because, now I'm in that place where it's like, oh, maybe I can pursue things more, but I still am there because I have my 10-year-old, and I can't just say, oh, I'm going to go and be on set for 6 months, or maybe I could, and I do have a strong support system in terms of my co-parenting relationship with their dad and all of that, but, just the internal guilt and the internal kind of turmoil that we put ourselves through for not being there for our children, I don't know if I could handle it. The one promise is that and quite amazing, so she has the fire in her, and I'm hoping that we can start on this journey together, and maybe I can open up doors for her, and be that stage mom, and then every once in a while I get to indulge on the stage. So
that can work, because I know a couple of times when my daughter was younger, before she really went into, she actually, from when she was younger, she did a couple of commercials with me.
Okay, cool.
And she did a play when she was in college. So if your daughter has that acting bug, you can kind of integrate it so you guys can be doing the same thing.
That would be the dream. Absolutely.
But like my son, he is not the one to be in front of the camera on the stage. He's like, no. He doesn't even have a patience to do a video audition with me.
My son barely lets me take pictures. He's like, like, no, you're going to put it on your social media, you're going to do this, and I'm like, well, you're adorable. Yeah.
Quite the handsome. He's quite the handsome.
Really handsome.
It's hard, because I've read how certain actors and actresses have, mainly we're talking about actresses being a mother,
right?
But how they, I've heard how Taraji P. Henson, she went from New York to LA, and her son was very young, and I was like, wow, that to me is scary, because I can't. My thing was, I didn't want my children to struggle if I'm struggling.
Sure.
I wanted set income, money coming in, because, acting, you get a lump sum of money, but you might have to have that, spread out for the next 6 months to a year.
Sure.
And, if you can't give them everything, especially if they're active in sports like my son was, and he was in the homecoming and all those little events, there's a problem. You feel guilty, I can't pay for this and whatever. And of course we're going to do what we have to do to, hawk something, pawn something, or whatever. But the bottom line was it worth it to pursue my dreams when they were young, or and give them, there's this instability, we'll be hopping around here or living here or having housemates, because California is excessively expensive. So
absolutely.
You want to just, you had to make that brutal choice. And
sure.
Like I said, I took the scenic route.
And we don't know what kind of support system she had. I know personally, I did grow up where my mother wasn't always around. So I knew what that resentment was, I remember hearing very early when I started parenting that to a love, time spells love to a child. Time, that spells love to a child. So if you're not there, they have no choice but to figure like they're not that important and those kind of things. So I could never do that to my kid in terms of not being there because I lived with the resentment of having a mom that wasn't always there. And I forgive her for that and I understand. But, you know, knowing that resentment and knowing those things, anytime that I have to spend time away from my kids, I have a little bit of guilt. Even Tech Week. Like Tech Week, I go crazy because literally it'll be a week of like I just can't see them. And, you know, it's like maybe I'll see them to pick them up or drop them off. And that's 20 minutes. And I'm feeling guilty the whole time because it's been probably 3 or 4 weeks of me probably rehearsing 3 or 4 nights a week and that kind of thing. So it is a lot of guilt. And but at the same time, it's rewarding when they come and see my show and they see the hard work that I put into it. Oh, those moments melt my heart, you know, so it's definitely worth it. And again, just being able to maybe light a spark in my daughter, that has been very much worth it. We're to the point that I don't really care too much about my own fame or, you know, what my success measure will be. But I could definitely see her on a red carpet. I could definitely see her doing some really amazing big things. And I'll be happy if I was just there to open those doors because it's an interesting industry, you know, and coming in so much older, it's you got to be realistic, right? About what? About how, you know, I don't know. Do you have to tone it down so that you don't, like, your dreams don't get, like, completely crushed when you say, oh, I want it all, and then it doesn't happen? Or, I mean, to me, I want it all. I want it all, but I also, like, kind of stay grounded, where I'm like...
And you can stay grounded, but I want it all. And you know what? I feel like you mentioned, before we started this podcast, you had mentioned, like, we're going to get it all. And I was like, oh, good. Okay, she said it out loud because I was thinking it, but
it's gonna happen.
But I feel like, you know, age is okay. That's you can experience ageism. I get it.
Sure,
but really, so my son wants to be a basketball star.
Okay,
and he always wanted to go to the NBA. Now, here's my my take on it. You can still be a basketball star. It doesn't mean you have to go to the NBA.
Right.
They have Canada. They have international.
Yes.
They have European. They have everything.
Being a working athlete versus being a
star. Okay, so and the NBA, going to the NBA is like 1%. So I can still be a professional actor and still be a mother, and maybe one day, a million years from now, a grandmother.
Sure.
But my whole point is
a million years. Jeez. She's saving for the IVF treatments and everything.
I tell my children, do not have kids
Wait
till like
40.
30 something. I was like, you know, they're still in their 20s, and I'm like,
no,
I am
good advice.
not ready to be a grandmother.
Yes,
you know, because like right now, because I said I had my children young, so I was ready to raise. Like once I raise my kids, I'm ready for me. Like it's me time.
Yes.
And I never felt guilty when I did long Tech Week, but I have experienced. We have something in common because my mom was present. As far as like we had everything we need. Okay. She came to parent teachers conferences. She came to all the games, but weekends she was out of there. Okay. She was like there was not that nurturing.
Mom time.
Yeah. There was no nurturing and that funny. You know, and that mother is like, I provide for you, I take care of you, I love you, and this is the way she showed how she loved. And so I had a lot of resentment because I felt like there was that disconnect of that nurturing and that love that we didn't have. So I made sure I had that with my kids. Yeah. But I remember there was a very trying time, you know, when they were growing up, is because I was going to school, obtaining my bachelor's full-time, working full-time, and I was running back and forth to their games and making sure I was there, because my thing is I'm going to be at every single game. Yeah. And if I remember that, my mom was at every single game. She comes to, you know, most of my plays. She's there, but she's not there. Do you know what I'm saying? That disconnect, but it's okay. And so I made sure I was the nurturing mom. I was the, you know, what I didn't get, I made sure I instilled in my children. So there was never any regret, because once they were down there, you know, the homework was done. That was me. Yeah, it was my time. Sure. And so it was rough, but I learned how to balance it out. And that's the thing is, mothers, we don't learn how to balance, you know, take times for ourselves, because the guilt, I can understand, and you feel guilty, because once my daughter graduated, I was like, okay, you graduated. Yeah, we're done. So it's all about me, you know? And then it's like, then I started feeling guilty. Which like, but Mom, no, it's about me. I want to pursue my goals and dreams now. Like, so, I think, again, so when it comes to acting, even though we're older, we still have theater. We still have international film. We have the Canada market, the Canadian market. I mean, there's so many plethora of ways to be an actor, and it just depends on what you're trying to shoot for. And nothing's impossible. I mean, Morgan Freeman, Samuel L. Jackson, look at Viola Davis. All of those hit the big times in their 50s.
Yeah.
They started getting in their 50s. So, and the good thing about being older is there's a lot, you just ain't gonna settle for nothing.
That's true.
No, I don't have to, because you've already been on this road for so long. Like, I'll just take my time.
Yeah.
And stroll through the motions. So
that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. So it's a great journey. I think nothing is impossible. It may not be exactly the way we see it, but it'll be a perfect fit for whatever our individual journey is.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true. And yeah, it's interesting because that's probably where my thinking was coming from, is that sometimes, the acting and being a musician, being a sports celebrity, those are these kind of 1%er kind of positions that you get to. And that's where I temper myself. But, the fact is that I am a working actress. I am proud of the work that I do. And for me, it doesn't have to be on Hollywood. It can be right here in Denver. It can be in Aurora. And I'm so proud of the work that I put in, because it's the work that I did. And, so it doesn't matter the audience. It's just, what did I put into it? And I'm sure I reached somebody. And that's always important.
And
so,
it's phenomenal work. That's as long as you're doing, and you know what? We are going to walk down the red carpet.
Oh, you better believe it.
You better believe it. And when we do, we'll be like, hello!
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
For sure.
What are some of the triumphant moments that you've had in terms of motherhood and maybe this path of acting?
As far as
maybe moments that made you feel proud, or that kind of thing. Have your kids ever said anything that made you feel like, yep, this is it, kind of thing?
I don't know. For me, just making sure that I got them to their destination was rewarding for me. Like, my daughter graduated. She had a double degree. I always tell my
so
children,
smart and beautiful.
I say, if I make $10 million, you should make 20. Like, you should supersede me in half the time. And all the mistakes that I made, you should not make those mistakes. You should make new mistakes. So watching this stuff, like, she's 24, about to buy her house. I bought my first house at 28. I mean, that's like amazing.
Yeah.
I graduated with 1 degree and a minor. She graduated dual degree. So I was like, that's amazing. I mean, she dang near makes, not that money counts, but I'm just saying, like, I set the bar higher for her, because she dang near makes probably $4,000 or $5,000 less than I do annually, and like, she's about to supersede me, and to me, that's
great.
I put you in and I set you up for success, and that is rewarding for motherhood. And so it just makes it all worth the while that it was okay with putting my aspirations to the side to watch them do great things.
Well, maybe you provided a really great model, right? I mean, we're living in a society where there's a failure to launch right now, and I don't think that's a benefit to anybody. So, the fact that I have a son that told me last year before he graduated, I can't wait to buy my own place. And I'm like, okay, well, gee, make me feel bad. But, but the fact is that he's an independent kid and he wants to go out there and make his own way.
Yeah.
And I think maybe by seeing a mother that's pursuing her own thing, her own passions, gave her the impetus to be like, okay, I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to get out there and live my own life and make my mom proud. So I think kudos to you for providing that example, because I'm sure it's been a huge influence on her life. Because again, we can't be effective as parents or anything unless we're proud and happy with what we're contributing in life, you know? So, I mean, for me, that's a big part of what acting does. It gives me a part of my life to be proud of and know that I'm contributing, and know that, and that makes me more effective in everything that I do, in terms of friendships and kids and all of that, because I'm just more complete and fulfilled inside. So
Well, wait till you're an early nester. You are going to be brokenhearted.
We'll see. Okay,
so that's what I thought, because when my son is 2 years older, so he was already out.
Yes.
And when she left, I was like, yay.
Yeah.
But I drove her to school because she went to CSU.
Ooh, yeah.
And then I drove back, and it was me and my mom, and I cried all the way home because I didn't realize that you come home and it's like empty at the house. But it took about a week or two before I started saying, hey, let me start doing things that I like to do. And that's when I started getting back into acting and the theater. And I was like, hey, let me pull up a good monologue and start working on some things. Yeah. But those first couple of weeks, it was rough. But we still enjoy having children around. We're going to have one of my son's friends stay with us for the summer.
Oh, that'll be nice.
So,
that'll be nice.
Yeah, but I love having teenagers, not little ones. Teenagers.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be interesting because that's where I'm going. My daughter is officially not a little kid anymore.
No.
She's now double digits and officially going into teenage.
12 or 13?
She's going to be 11 and starting 6th grade.
Girl.
So now a new adventure awaits because puberty with a boy was weird and stinky, but I don't really care to experience it with the girl because it's gonna be crazy, and I'm crazy
Weird
and she's
and
crazy.
stinky.
Yeah, it was gross.
So a muscular smell, that musky.
Girl, I was ready to take him to the doctor, and we were at the grocery store, and this lady in front of me had 4 sons, and she was just like, oh my God, and they just stink, and I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, these boys, they just stink, and I was like, really? I was like, oh my God, I thought it was just mine. I mean, I opened his door, and it's like, oh, yeah, it was like something died in his room from like the age of like 11 till about 15. It was just musky.
My son has always been super clean, so I didn't get that. What I did get is rebellion.
Okay, I didn't get any of that.
He was rebellious, sneaking out the house.
See, I was so lucky.
Disappearing during the weekend.
He was stinky but good.
He was clean and smelling good, and to this day, he's a super neat and clean. But my daughter, with her, oh my God, she, that puberty thing, and you hit that mark when your menses start.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
She was attitude all the way, and I was like, but his lasted the same time as yours. Mine was about 12 to 15. I was like going crazy. Yeah. In tears every day. Yeah. With her, it was like, who the hell are you? And it was like one year. She just like, her, the hormones were going and everything was an attitude. And, she just slamming doors. And I'm like,
Lana already shows a little bit of the attitude. So I'm like, oh my God, I can already see where it's going. And I'm like, she might just be at her dad's house. Like, you know what? You're going over there. You can push him around. Because it ain't happening with me. So we'll see what goes on the real. Strap myself in. That's all there is to that. But it's definitely a journey being an actor and being a mother, because they are both, I always say being a mother is the most important role in my life. Yes. So, but they are both so substantial, and
Do you find sometimes people will criticize if a mother decides to take another route to pursue her goals? I remember working in a bank, and this lady, she was a lawyer, and she was like, I need to get a cashier's check to pay my child support. And that just that was so foreign to me, to see a woman paying child support. But the things are switching now. I'm not saying it's as prevalent, but I think the percentage of women are starting to say, hey, either they're taking their career seriously and they're having children later, in their 40s and 50s. Look at Janet Jackson. I would never do that to myself.
But look at her. She looks so good.
But she got money to look good. That's why. She got money to get a nip and tuck in, liposuction. Hey, I ain't mad at you.
I don't even know if she got all that. She's black.
Girl. Yes, she did. You better look at her again. Even though she's amazing. But, I mean, and do you think that that's a bad thing to choose? Like, maybe have your children like a lot of actresses, some of them don't even have children. Right. They don't even have them, but a lot of them now are having them later, like in their 40s. Sure. And then if 40s is like the new 30s. I mean, honestly, when I was growing up, I honestly did not want to have kids until I was 40. Like, literally, I did not want to have kids until I was 40. Because I was like, well, there was something else happened. It was not in the stars for me. But I'm just saying, what are your thoughts about that? Having them, like, pursuing your dreams now, and then having them, having your children later, and what does that look like, financially? Sure. Because you're bringing these children into this amazing, already foundation of you're getting money, you have everything. Like,
Yeah,
so
I
look
don't
at
know.
Mariah Carey.
I don't
Like,
know. I
you
mean,
know.
I don't know. I didn't do life by the playbook, right? I didn't plan things out perfectly. And, you know, I get that there are probably some deficits that are there, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it because I think if I would have tried to do everything perfectly, I might be in that point where IVF doesn't work. And, you know, for all the 60,000 and 100,000, sometimes that shit doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I might not want 5 children, you know, like I don't want a friggin' set of quintuplets or all of that, you know. So, yeah, there's something to trying to work with the plan and make sure that your life is perfect to whoever's, you know, Bollywood it is, you know. But I've always been pretty nonconformist and unconventional kind of person.
Yeah, I don't
so
think they were.
There's always been
perfect.
judgment.
Yeah,
There's
I don't
always
think-
been
yeah.
judgment. So, yeah.
I don't think they were doing perfect. I think they
No.
were pursuing their career
Okay.
prior to having kids.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
This is
but
what I
I
wanna
do know some people that have done that route, and even not even, you know, I'm just having too much fun right now to have kids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till later, and or now I can't have kids.
Yeah.
So it's just I mean,
It's a
and
catch-22,
it is a
huh?
catch-22, and there's something to being ready for them and wanting them. There's
Yeah.
also something to being taken off guard and not knowing what you're capable until
Hello.
you have that little bundle in your arms.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, each path is
different.
yeah, and to everybody their own, because there's always going to be somebody judging you in the background
Yeah.
going, I don't know if they should have done that, or
Yeah.
I don't know if I treat, you know, so you just
Yeah.
gotta I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, brush that shit
You know,
off and go on with your life, right?
And all of our journeys are different.
So
but the
different.
whole thing is whether you did it in their 20s, your teens, or in your 40s or 50s, motherhood is the most profound gift that God can give you. Outside of any talent, for us to
Absolutely.
give birth, that is the biggest
And that's what
compliment
makes
that God has
and
given
that's
us.
what makes a woman. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, and that's what makes women so special.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever you want to try to make yourself a fierce woman, but unless you have a womb and unless you're capable of creating life, you're not in the same struggle. And you know that ability of giving life, like you even talked about men being able to go off and pursue their careers. They don't know what it's like to have something inside you for 9 months,
Yeah.
growing and developing and depending on you. And
Yeah.
I think
And
that
nursing
bonding,
and
bonding that goes on
Yeah.
when that baby hasn't even come out is
It's a
so
beautiful-
profound.
Yes.
Yes, and
Yeah.
such a deep bond that's the reason why usually
Yeah.
that women can't just break away from it, because it's like, that's mine. That you know, literally, like, yeah, and it fought its way out of my body, like, that's mine. Like, yeah, it's really hard to let that go.
It's a
So-
beautiful experience.
And it is.
So we just wanted to talk about motherhood and say, this is our journey. Whatever
Yes.
your journey, we support you. There's no correct way to do it. But
And
being
even
a mother
being not
is
a mother.
gift.
Yes.
Even being not a mother, like physically giving birth, the fact that you can mother someone, whether it's a niece or a nephew, it's still, we have a gift. Like
Yes.
she said, if you're blessed with a womb, you are profound and a star in and of itself. In any event, we thank you so much for joining us during our show. I'm LaDios Muhammad, an actor with purpose.
And I'm Rav'n Moon, an actor with passion.
Remember, you don't have to be asleep to dream. So get up and get out and do something for yourself. We are actors
from the dark side.